Right, welcome back. So we've got some of our styling here in our header, obviously got some more and then into the body and so on. What we'll do is continue with our sort of our margins, or sorry, our header here, and with our .nav, so our section, the nav section, what we'll do is for the line items, we don't want them one below the other here. So what we're going to do is set them in line. So we can do it the display property, and then we set that to inline. And right away, what we'll see is that now they're left, sort of right along here. They're sort of side by side. Perfect. Now, obviously, they're not great. They're a little bit stuck in there, right? They're sort of side by side. So what we want to do is sort of spread those out. So what we have to do again is select them, and they are our anchor tags, right? So we're going to actually set the anchor tags there. And so we'll do, now this, again, we'll do a display. We're going to set them to inline block. And this just, again, don't worry too much about this, but it lets us do some padding around it as well. And we'll do that. We'll do the padding here, and we'll use the EM style here to basically put a half of a unit. The color, we'll just set that to white. And the other thing there, text decoration, we'll just get rid of those underlines. So we can use the text decoration here, and we'll set that to none. So there's just, like I said, no underlines there. By default, most browsers put a line underneath the links. So we'll just run this again and see. And so you're starting to see there, looking a little bit better. Now we've got some space. And like I said, if you played around with that, that would change the space. Just to show you as well, let me just make that a bigger number. You'd actually notice it comes down as well. So that padding goes all the way around everywhere. And again, it's up to you what you think looks good. I've set it to 0.5 there, but it's changeable. Now, the Smashing Pumpkins, the title here needs to be changed as well. And so that, if you recall, just sort of going back here to our index, we've got this band name large. So we'll sort of get into that, changing that up. This is also in the nav, main nav. So we're going to actually style that first, and then we'll deal with a few little other items there. So back here, when we come down, we'll just try to keep everything together. So we've got our main header. Actually, yeah, so let's do. We've got so many things here. Okay, so let's just go into here. Dot main nav. Okay, so we've got that one. What we'll do is we'll sort of align everything because we haven't got anything set up here. So we're going to text align, and we'll center that. Font size in this area, we'll just make them a little bit bigger. So the 1.1 EM. We will also, the font weight, so we can make it bolder. In this case, we're going to make it a little bit lighter. And then finally, along the bottom, we're going to put a border. So border bottom. And this will be just sort of a line here. So we can set a few things. One is the thickness. So as 1 pix. We'll make it solid. And then we'll just sort of make it a light color. So RGBA. I want this. I'll just put that in. And it's going to be 255. So this is black. 255. And then we'll just lighten it up a little bit by making that like 0.3 there. Okay. So just to see the differences here, we've got this little line here. These have now been centered, and we've got it looking pretty good there. Okay. The next thing that we'll do, we got that okay. Oh, we want to make it so when we hover over these, they change a different color. So actually, I think I'm going to put that, because this is going to go with the A as well. So .nav A, and what you do is you say hover. So if you hover the mouse over top, you can change the style. And so what we'll do actually is, I think I'm going to just take this color here. So we'll set the background color. And I think I should just be able to grab all this. Whoops. I'm just going to steal this and pop it in there. Good. So now when I run this, if I put my mouse over top, it has that sort of grayish color, just to indicate, that we've got our mouse over top of that. So that's looking pretty good. What we'll do next is we'll style the band name. So I'm just getting all these things. I'm just trying to keep them reasonably in order here. So I'm going to come down here, band name, and the band name by default we're going to text line. We'll center it. We'll set a margin of 0, so there's nothing around it. The font size by default, we'll set it to 4 EM. Font family, we're not going to, we could probably just leave it here, but I'm just going to make it that Lansbury again. Font weight, we'll make sure that this one's set to normal. So not bolded, but not lighter. And then the color we'll set to white by default. Good. So that should get this looking a little bit better, which it is. And then we'll, if we wanted to, and we did do this, we could style the band name larger. So band name larger. And it will inherit everything from the band name, but we'll just be able to make this one even bigger. And, at the moment, because I've got this sort of squeezed over, it looks pretty small. I think I did before 80M on it. It's going to be obviously much bigger. Right, but as I bring this page over, right, it doesn't look out of place, okay? So again, depending on what you're doing here, it looks pretty good. Now the next section that we want to do is start to work about the this section here. So that I think we just called it section, and we want to sort of work through that. So if we take a look at our index here. So we finish that up. We've got section, we've got this home, and then we've got everything else. So what I'm going to do is just go back to that and put some classes in that. So I'm going to come into section, and I'm going to put a class here, and I'm going to call it content section container. Okay, and then we'll do the same thing here. Class, we'll call this, for the H2, we'll call that section header. And the quote there. And image class. Now we're going to put a class here as well. We'll style this. Class, and actually we might as well put the image in while we're at it here. So this class will be called about band image. And so my images here, I think it was images / and it was band.jpg, and we just want to make sure that that works. And I think that's pretty good for this section in terms of setting it up. So if I run here, just going to get a picture in there. We can obviously change the size of that picture. We haven't done any of the styling yet, so it's all by default. It's still there. So let's go back to our CSS and actually do some of this styling that we were just talking about. So first thing, we're going to set the container section. We'll put a container section. We will put a sort of basically a margin around everything, and we'll set that to 1 EM. Okay, so that's just for that section, that whole area there. And I don't know if I run that, we'll be able to see, I don't think it's really done anything yet. We'll just get a little bit more here to this container. Okay, yeah, to this container, we're gonna set a max width, and I'll just show you what that is in a minute. So max width of the page, and then we'll set that to 900 pixels. So that's about roughly half the screen. We will set the margin to 0 on the top and bottom, and then we will auto the left and right. And what that will do, I don't need a comma there, it will basically center the text. We'll see that happening. And then the padding, we will put, again, 0 on the top, not adding, but padding. We will put 0 on the top, and then about 1.5 EM around the sides. So this will make some big differences down here. You'll see it, first of all, let's see. Okay, we can start to see that a little bit better. Now you can see it sort of centering here. This is setting at 900 pixels. You can see the other stuff we haven't centered, so it's moving over there. It's a little hard to see because we can't sort of see the padding at the moment, but there is some padding around that, not the top and the bottom. Home is there. Okay, now a little bit more that we can get in here. Let's just style the header here, so that would be just this home part. So I'm going to go back to my, oops, I am in this, just bring us over here. I think I've got the wrong thing here. There we go. And just come down. Okay, so I'm going to do the section header. And again, we'll set that font family. Like I said, it's probably not, since we're using the same one here, it's not a big deal, Lansbury. Oops. And I gotta make sure I put my quotes around there. And what should we do here? Font weight, we'll set that to normal. We will set the color to that gray color, so color, and we'll do a sort of pound 333. That will give us a gray. You can see it there. Text line, we'll also center that. And last but not least, we'll set the font size to 2.5. Yeah. And like I said, this should set that home part. And you can see there it's been centered and so on. Let's see if we can just squeeze in fixing up this picture as well, make it a bit smaller. So dot about, what did I call this here? About bad image. And so we're going to float this to the left. This will just move it over to the left side of the page. We will set a height and a width here. So actually I'm just going to set the height, I think, because it's not quite square. And yeah, put a margin 15 pixels around it, just so to give it a little bit of space. I think that should be good. Let's just see what it does here. I don't think I'll circle this one. There we go. So you can see that little bit of space around there. It just gives it some breathing room. And it's nice, it's reasonable size, I would say. We've got home there. The text sort of wraps around it nicely. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. We're pretty well done. We really just have to work on the bottom part here. So I think in the last video we'll be able to finish that up.